Council meeting. Today is Tuesday, February the 2nd, 2021. Time is now 6 p.m. The regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Trinidad will now come to order through the Zoom meeting. So please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Bono?
Here.
Goodall?
Here.
Griego? Here. Ogletree?
Here.
Hill?
Here.
Williamson?
Here.
Rico?
Here. Item 2, approval of the agenda. Does anyone council have any changes to the, or amendments to the agenda? Not? Have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Call the vote, please.
Bono?
Yes.
Goodall?
Yes.
Griego?
Yes.
Ogletree?
Yes.
Hill? Williamson?
Yes.
Rico?
Yes. Item 3, policy items and staff reports. Mr. Valentine, anything to report?
The only thing I have to report, Mayor, is that we have hired our lead person to lead the Office of Outdoor Recreation, and that is Jared Chatterley. He started yesterday. He's hit the ground running. You may have received an email from him. I will bring him on next meeting to just introduce him, but I didn't get him on this agenda, but we welcome him aboard, and I think it's going to be he's a good fit for Trinidad in our area. So just wanted to mention that. That's all I have, Mayor.
I really appreciated the email that he sent to us, and there's a lot of information in there. So it was good to see that he has the experience that he has. Item 4, petitions or communications, oral or written. Anyone listening in have a comment? Debbie's iPad. Yes, not. Okay, on to item 5, consent agenda approval. Item 5A, approval of the regular minutes of January 9th, 2021. Hello? Item B, approval of the amendment to the Colorado Department of Transportation agreement for the Old Sopris Trail project to extend the term for 1 year to complete paperwork processing. And I guess that will be to February the 22nd, 2022. Is that correct, Mr. Valentine?
That is correct, Mayor.
Okay. Item C, approval of the resolution appointing individuals to form the ballot count for the election certification of the Trinidad Police Department bargaining unit from the AFSCME with City Clerk Audra Garrett and Assistant Clerk Kimberly Lopez will be tabulating the results. Item D, approval of the bills for $1,133,096.29. Item E, approval of the payroll for January the 23rd, 2021 to February the 5th, 2021. Amount of $383,766.98. Could I have a motion for approval, please?
So moved.
Second.
No, don't take away the music either.
Second. Call the roll, please.
Bono?
Yes.
Goodall?
Yes.
Griego?
Yes.
Ogletree?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes.
Rico?
Yes. Item 6, a public hearing. 6A, public hearing for consideration of an ordinance regulating the parking of recreational vehicles. Hearing is now open. Mr. Valentine, do you want to fill us in, or is there someone else in staff that has information for us?
I could fill you in, Mayor. This is as discussed at our work session. This ordinance gives some teeth for the police department to enforce more efficiently, and I know that Chief Glorioso is online if he wants to add to that, but it helps with more of the bureaucratic stuff that has to be done to enforce this. So I would open it up to the chief. If not, recommend council approval.
Chief Glorioso, do you have anything you need to add?
Nothing more than what we discussed at our work session. This is going to really be helpful in trying to get those trailers and stuff cleaned up. It'll give us, like the city manager said, a little more teeth in going forward and getting that done more efficiently.
Okay. Moving on to council, Ms. Grego, do you have any questions?
I do not.
Mr. Goodall?
Nothing for me, Phil.
How about Ms. Ogletree?
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Shu?
No, none, Phil.
Okay, Mr. DeBona? Mr. DeBona? Not lost.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, no questions.
Mr. Williamson?
No questions, Mayor.
Okay. Anyone listening in wants to speak for or against, for the consideration of the ordinance? Hearing is now closed. Okay, second reading of an ordinance regulating the parking of recreational vehicles. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any other discussion? Call a vote, please.
Bono,
Yes.
Goodall,
Yes.
Griego,
Yes.
Ogletree,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Rico.
Yes. Item 7, we have no unfinished business. Item 8 is miscellaneous business. Resolution supporting the placement of Thomas Leidig Circle Lift public artwork sculpture within Colorado Department of Transportation CDOT facilities. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
And in the discussion, for Mr. Valentine, he just informed me that if there is anybody that is listening that would like to have some public comment on this, CDOT has advised us that we need to take public comment on this if anyone wants to speak for or against or have any opinion on it. Guess not. Mr. Valentine, do you want to give us some information, please?
Actually, Mayor, I'll defer to Karen Wolf, who is on the call, and she will be presenting this. It's been something that's been in the works for a while. So, Karen, I'll let you take it away.
Go ahead, Ms. Wolf.
Karen, you're muted. We see you, but can't hear you.
Okay, so let me. Okay, so I'm now on my phone and I muted my computer. Is that better?
Yes.
That is.
Okay. So what would you like me to start with?
Well, just
Mayor.
let us know, because this was something that I was not aware of that was coming forth. But if you can just give us an explanation how this maybe started and where it's going.
Okay, so a couple of years ago, the Arts and Culture Commission purchased the sculpture in part. They paid the artist up front for half, so the other half has not been paid for yet, but the money has been set aside. And there were challenges because of the location. It's on CDOT property. So we had to go through a process. The Public Works Department, the former Public Works Director, had to go through the process of getting a permit. And he started out with the circle list and then switched that to the horse in the roundabout. So we had to start over with the circle list. So he handed it off to me when he retired, and then I spent 3 months trying to get a hold of CDOT. Finally had a meeting with them in early January, and they require an opportunity for public input regarding the sculpture. And what one of the gentlemen said to me was, they don't want any sculpture put up that's not approved by the community. So that's the purpose of the resolution. And then I have everything else ready to submit for the permit, and some of those items are in your packet. One of those was an engineered, like a stamped drawing, was required for the base. So we have that too. So everything's in order. This meeting was the last step for submitting the permit to CDOT.
Okay. Let's go ahead and see if council have any questions. Ms. Grego?
I just have one question, and I'm pretty sure I know what the answer is, but that location of that statue doesn't hinder the traffic, what am I trying to say?
Pedestrian traffic.
Yeah, right. Does it hinder anybody's view? Because that's a pretty busy place. I'm sure CDOT probably wouldn't. Yeah. And I went by there this morning, and that rendition that's in that overhead picture shows like a round foundation on it, but I didn't see that when I went by there. Is that something we're going to add after?
It's 3 parts, and those are in the photos. So
Okay.
the bricks will be removed to that bottom marble piece into,
Okay.
and then the bricks will be replaced up to the edge of the marble base.
Oh, okay. All righty.
So it'll be partially above grade.
Okay. That's the only question I had.
Mr. Goodall?
I have nothing.
Okay. Ms. Ogletree?
I just wondered, where is the other $3,800 or so dollars? Where is that coming from? You said it had been set aside, and I just wondered where that is.
From
So this-
the art, sorry, Mike.
That's all right. Go ahead. You're down that path, so go ahead.
Cheryl had confirmed that there is money from the arts budget
Okay.
or arts funds.
Okay. And the other question was, this meeting is going to satisfy the public comment requirement for the permit? Because I
Correct.
set this up as a public comment kind of thing. I mean, people, I suppose, can, but I just wondered if there was going to be some problem with that.
No.
Okay.
I mean, once it's decided here, then we can move forward. If there was a decision not to approve the sculpture, then we'd have to find a location on city property for it.
Mayor, may I interrupt? This is Cheryl.
Sure.
Arts and Culture did not budget for this item. It's been almost 3 years since we made the initial payment. So this would be coming out of capital, and capital does have the funding for it. We're going to keep it with capital because that's where the original payment was made, as well as the engineering study. That portion, or that 50% portion of the circle list, is sitting in construction in progress. So once we get this paid, we'll be able to finish out the posting and turn it into a fixed asset of the city.
Thanks, Cheryl. I didn't have that exactly right at all. Sorry.
Any other questions, Ms. Ogletree?
thank you.
Okay, was that, your question on that, Ms. Ogletree, was that where it says the source of remaining funds to be determined? Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause I had that same question.
That
Okay,
was.
good. Okay, Mr. Shu,
No, I don't have any questions.
Mr. DeBono,
No, sir, no, I don't have any questions.
Mr. Williamson.
I have no questions, Mayor.
Okay. The only concern I have, of course, like I said, and it's, it's water under the bridge already because we have to move on with this, but I was a little concerned that this money originally came out of capital and not out of another fund that had been, brought forth from, from the public art or the, anyway. I was just kind of a little concerned about that. So, any other comments? Call the vote, please.
DeBono,
Yes.
Goodall,
Yes.
Griego, yes. Ogletree,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Rico.
Yes. Item B, a resolution amending the policy regarding the allocation and expenditure of the proceeds of the city's 5% marijuana sales tax revenue. And like I said, this is just the distribution portion that we changed on the percentage. It has nothing to do with the other discussions that we had in the work session at this point. So this is just that actual distribution of the change. And I'll let Mr. Valentine or Cheryl discuss that. So with that, I'll have them take a motion, please.
Moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Valentine, do you want Cheryl to give us information on that, or do you want to cover it?
Well, we could tag team it, Mayor. I'll start. So after our discussion during work session, it was determined that we would have the nonprofit submit to the Trinidad Community Foundation, and that's further on down the agenda for that approval. But we decided that the split of 65% of the 5% sales tax, the marijuana tax, would be toward Trinidad operations for projects, program, debt service, that thing. That did not change. Also, 30% of the proceeds to a reserve to be committed formally by City Council on annual basis. That is a change in this resolution, as we used to call it the rainy day fund, but it will now be committed on an annual basis at the end of the year when we know the amounts. And here's a change where we identified 4% of the revenue will be used for economic development and or affordable housing incentives. We haven't developed that yet, but we want to put those monies aside for that as we work through the process. And then 1% goes to Trinidad nonprofits to be dispersed through the community foundation process that they go through, so application process and vetting. So we've also added a line 5 in there. It may be a bit confusing, but it's all expended revenues collected for fiscal year 2020 that were allocated toward nonprofits will be distributed in accordance with this resolution, and that would take that roughly, I think it was $87,000 that we had for 2020. We would split the 4%, 1% of that monies to start this program. So I don't know if Cheryl wants to add anything, but that's all I have unless there's questions.
Ms. Navarrete, do you have anything to add?
So right off the bat, we would have $87,000 $87,800 to send over to TCF. The fourth quarter, council should be approving that the next meeting, and that's probably going to be another $55,000. So just so that you're aware, technically TCS is going to be starting the bank with about $142,000.
Okay, any questions from council? Ms. Grego?
I misunderstood there because I thought the 87.8 that we collected was the 5%, and of that 87.8, the nonprofits are going to get 1% of that, not the whole 87.8. And the same with the 55.
That's my mistake. I'm sorry, you're right. I was talking about the 5% in its entirety.
Don't do that to an old woman, Cheryl.
I feel
Sorry
better.
about that. Yeah. So anyway, you're right.
Now we know why Colonel
It'll be about
Simpleman
40.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Okay. So actually, they're going to get about $14,000, a little over 14.
I guess maybe now I'm confused. I'm going to probably have to talk to Mike about that. So,
Right, so
in second and third quarter, we put away 5%, or council approved 5% to be allocated to nonprofits, and that totals $87,800. Are we giving that entire amount to TCS?
no, so the intent is to take the 1% of the overall marijuana funds, which is confusing, but 87.8 divided by 5 is 17,560. So they, of the 2020 funds, 17,560 would go to TCF, and then whatever comes in the fourth quarter funds, we'll divide up the same way.
Okay, so then if we calculate that, it's going to be about $28,500 if fourth quarter comes in as I anticipate. My fault. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Thank you. No, I don't have any other questions.
Ms. Navarrete, like I said, once you get some final numbers, send us, an email, send council an email, so we'll have some hard figures on that, okay? Mr. Goodall?
Now that we got that clarified, I feel much better, and I think Colonel Simpleman does also. Is a lot of money, but no, I'm glad we're going to get this rolling right away and get that 4% started going into a fund, and while we figure out how we're going to allocate that and get all this rolling, I'm happy with this very much.
Ms. Ogletree?
I have no questions, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Shu?
No questions.
How about Mr. Bono?
No questions, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Williamson?
I have no questions. I appreciate the clarification.
Okay. I have no questions. Call the vote, please.
Sabano,
Yes.
Goodall,
Yes.
Griego,
Yes.
Ogletree,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Rico.
Item 8C, agreement with Trinidad Community Foundation for the disbursements of funds to local nonprofit entities. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any other discussion on that? I think that last segment, kind of clarified everybody. Ms. Grego, do you have any questions?
Just one question, and it's because somebody from a nonprofit called me today. Where will the applications be posted, and when will they be posted?
As soon as, we'll move out as quickly as we can, Ms. Grego. And, and what we'll do is we'll get all the newspapers, and I just talked to Eli before the meeting, get it on the radio station. And we'll even call up, we'll even call people up. We've gotten questions and that. So we'll do that, and we can do it at the library, and stuff like that. So.
Okay. Will the forms be available, to download from the city's website? Or would they have to go to TCF?
That's a good question. Let me we have the website. We got to work on it a little bit. It's probably best to do it from the city if we can. We'll talk to the city. It'll be our forum, but yeah,
Okay.
that's a good question. Yeah, and we'll make sure that we get the word out. And We'll talk to the world, Word from the World, Chronicle News, and of course the radio station, and thinking about First National Bank. Having it posted up there so that there's not going to be nobody's going to miss the opportunity.
Okay.
But at least we hope not.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Goodall,
I have nothing, Mayor.
Ms. Ogletree.
Just, I'm glad that there's the change that they made in paragraph 1 about distribution of funds, that we've spelled out now what policies apply to that, just so everybody's clear. But otherwise, I had no questions. That's the only comment I had.
Okay, Mr. Shu,
No questions.
Mr. DeBono,
No questions.
Mr. Williamson.
No questions, Mayor.
Okay, before I call a vote, Mr. Downs, being that I am on a board member of the Trinidad Community Foundation, should I recuse myself from the vote?
I think it is best, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate the inquiry, but I do think it's best.
Call the vote?
DeBono,
Yes.
Goodall,
Yes.
Griego,
Yes.
Ogletree,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Rico.
Recuse myself from the vote? Okay. On to item D, first reading of an ordinance adopting the 2020 Model Traffic Code, setting a hearing date for consideration of said ordinance to 6 p.m. on March the 2nd, 2021. Could I have someone to introduce, please?
I'll introduce it.
Okay. Have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Valentine, would that be Ms. Clark that would have any additional information for us?
Actually, that'd be Desiree Sandoval, our municipal court clerk, or Les Downs. But Mayor, basically, as per our discussion at the work session, we're currently operating under the Model Traffic Code of the 2010 version. So this updates to the 2020 version. But I'll defer to Ms. Sandoval if she has anything to add.
Okay, Ms. Sandoval, do you have anything to add?
I have nothing further to add.
Okay, Mr. Downs?
No, Mayor, I have nothing further to add. Good summary by Mr. Valentine.
Okay. Any questions from the council, starting with Ms. Griego?
I have no questions.
Okay, Mr. Goodall?
No questions.
Ms. Ogletree?
No questions. Thank you.
Mr. Shu?
No questions on that.
Mr. DeBono?
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Williamson?
No questions.
Call a vote, please.
DeBono,
Yes.
Goodall,
Yes.
Griego,
Yes.
Ogletree,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Rico.
Item E, first reading of an ordinance adopting the municipal court fine and fee schedule, setting a hearing date for consideration of said ordinance to 6 p.m. on February the 16th, 2020. Need someone to introduce?
I'll introduce.
Okay, could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion, Ms. Sandoval, I think that's in your line of what you do, is that correct?
Yes. I have nothing further to add to that. I did make those changes as I had told you during the work session.
Okay. Mr. Downs, do you have anything to add?
No, Mayor, this just codifies what we needed to codify. So I have nothing further to add. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Griego, any questions?
No, sir.
Mr. Goodall?
No, sir.
Ms. Ogletree?
Will these fines, this schedule be on the website for the city somewhere so people can see what they are?
Yes.
Okay. That's
Okay,
all I have.
Mr. Shu?
No questions.
Mr. DeBono?
No questions, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Williamson?
No questions, Mayor.
Okay, I have no questions. Call the vote, please.
DeBono,
Yes.
Goodall,
Yes.
Griego,
Yes.
Ogletree,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Rico.
Item F, transfer ownership of the liquor store license filed by Mountain Liquor and General Store, LLC at 1144 Robinson Avenue, formerly Linda T. Anderson Barron, doing business as Mountain Liquor and General Store. Set the public hearing for 6 p.m. on February the 16th, 2021. Ms. Barron, are you on, please?
Yes.
Okay. Can I have a motion, please?
Don't move.
Second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Downs, do you have any questions or anything to bring forward to Ms. Barron?
Mayor and council members, I do not have any questions. I would like to say that this is simply a matter like what council had before you recently regarding the Mission at the Bell liquor license. That is a temporary permit application to continue operation in connection with a transfer of ownership. And I know that Ms. Barron is well known to all of you and is, of course, a pillar of the community and man. But anyway, I'm sorry. I don't mean to digress. Mayor, I do want to ask you, and I'm sorry, but your votes on the last two matters were inaudible. Did you vote yes on the model traffic code and also the fines and fee structures for the model traffic code?
Yes, I did.
Thank you, sir. I thought so. I'm sorry we just couldn't hear you.
Okay.
I'm sorry for being off topic, but that is with respect to Ms. Barron's liquor application.
Okay. Let's go ahead and get any questions from the council. Ms. Grego?
No questions.
Mr. Goodall?
Nothing from me.
Ms. Ogletree?
Dennis, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Shu?
No questions.
Mr. DeBono?
No questions, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Williamson?
No questions, Mayor.
I have no questions myself. Call the vote, please.
Bono,
Yes.
Goodall,
Yes.
Griego,
Yes.
Ogletree,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Rico.
Yes. Okay, item G, temporary permit application filed by Mountain Liquor and General Store LLC at 1144 Robinson Avenue. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Not? Call the vote, please.
DeBono,
Yes.
Goodall,
Yes.
Griego,
Yes.
Ogletree,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Rico.
Yes. Ms. Barron, we will see you on the 16th, February the 16th at 6 p.m. for the hearing. So we'll see you then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Have a good evening.
Good evening. Have a good evening yourself. Item H, appointment of Jess Cannon to the Board of Building Code Appeals. I see Jess is on. Motion, please.
So moved.
Don't move.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Cannon, do you have anything you want to mention?
I'd just like to thank everybody for taking the time to consider me as an applicant. Thank you.
Okay. I also saw where you're interested in another one of our commissions, boards and commissions, but that'll come later on, I guess. So we'll see. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Cannon from council? Ms. Grego?
I have no questions.
Mr. Goodall?
Just a comment, Jess. That's where I started out, was on the that exact board myself before I moved to P&Z and on up. So thank you for stepping up, and it's a good place to start, and hope to see more involvement from you in our community.
Okay.
It's my pleasure.
Okay, Ms. Ogletree?
I have no questions, thank you.
Mr. Shu?
No questions, thank you.
Mr. DeBono?
No questions, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Williamson?
No questions. Appreciate the interest.
Okay, I have no questions. Call a vote, please.
Bono,
Yes.
Riddle,
Yes.
Griego,
Yes.
Ogletree,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Rico.
Yes. Item I, Animal Shelter Service Contract and Lease Agreement with Noah's Ark for the property at 1921 East Main Street. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Valentine, do you have anything you want to add to anything on discussion?
Actually, Mayor, I will defer to Mr. Downs as he was part of the negotiation with their attorney, so I'll turn it over to Mr. Downs.
Okay, Mr. Downs?
Thank you, Mayor, council members, and Mr. Valentine. So this is the agreement that we've been discussing for some time. I will tell all of you that the two provisions that have really been the sticking points are paragraph 8 in the agreement, that is the amount of annual funding to Noah's Ark for services provided to the city with respect to the animal shelter, and then paragraph 8 of Exhibit A, which is the amount of the retirement of the financial contribution of Noah's Ark. Those things, so there's $32,500 in terms of annual payment by the city to Noah's Ark for the services rendered, and $25,000 per year would be the amount that their contribution would be retired. In other words, for their contribution of $324,000 for every year of honoring the contract by both sides, that amount would be reduced by $25,000. In other words, if we were to unilaterally terminate this agreement early on, they are asking for part of their contribution back. This is their security that they want us to provide them for the amount of money that they are giving the city. So I just want to say that I believe we have really kind of more than met them halfway. I think council has said that you would do what they were asking of you, not totally, but you have done what they have asked of you. So the reason I mention that is because we do not have final board approval by the Noah's Ark board yet, but I believe that is forthcoming. I have been talking with Mr. Mazes, their legal counsel, and it is anticipated that the board is going to approve. I notice also that there are a number of representatives from the Noah's Ark Board of Directors that are on here this evening, and I don't. But anyway, if you have any questions, I'm here to answer those questions. I'm sorry for being so verbose, but I just wanted to make those points.
Okay, being that is the chairperson of Noah's Ark listening in? Or the vice chair?
Or the executive director.
Executive director.
They may not be able to connect by way of audio. I see the Noah's Ark logo. Right, I'm sure they're. Well, it looks like they're there, but they may not be able to connect.
Before we get started, the only concern that I have is that if we're going to move forward with voting on this, but yet their board has not agreed to it, I don't know if council is going to have any concerns with that. So at this time, let's go ahead and turn this over to council for any questions or concerns that we have. Ms. Grego?
I have no concerns. I know the Noah's board pretty well, and I have 100% faith in they're going to come and do an excellent job as they have done in the past. I just want to make a statement. This is the best cooperative agreement between a nonprofit and the city It's just a fantastic partnership, and I hope it continues for the 99 years.
And Mayor, I'm sorry for interrupting. I got a message from Ms. Young saying that she is here, but she's not able to communicate by way of voice, her audio. So I'm sorry again for interrupting. I just want to let you know that.
Okay. Mr. Goodall?
Yeah, I have no problems going forward with this after our conversations with Mr. Mazza at our meeting and him assuring us that the board would be okay with this. So I'm ready to move forward.
Okay, how about Ms. Ogletree?
I have no concerns, and I think it's a good agreement. Good job, Wes, working it out.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Shu?
No, I don't have any concerns. I just, a question for Mike. When is Noah's Ark going to be finished? Are we going to, have we got a date down that it's going to be open and available?
Yes, we do. I want to say, I want to say it's mid-April when that contractor will be done with everything. They're moving forward diligently, and you know, they've had a few glitches with suppliers and the COVID, and suppliers are not delivering material, but they are headed on track. I apologize, but I believe the date is mid-April that they'll be able to start moving in. But it's moving right along per schedule.
Yeah, I'm just curious what the date was. Thank you.
Sure,
Mr.
you bet.
Mr. DeBono?
No questions. Just wanted to concur with what Ms. Grego said about a great partnership with a nonprofit in the city. So yeah, keep up the great partnership. They've been here for going on 21 years now.
Mr. Williamson?
No questions.
The only question I have, Mr. Valentine, is are we on target funding-wise?
We are going to be a bit short, Mayor, but we have it in CIP, and we will be discussing, as Ms. Navarrete said, fourth quarter funds. So there's going to be a little shortfall, but we have the funds in CIP and marijuana.
Okay. I don't have any questions. Call a vote, please.
Bono,
Yes.
Goodall,
Yes.
Griego,
Yes.
Ogletree,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Rigo.
Yes. Item J, first reading of an ordinance amending section 20-12-5 definitions of Chapter 20 Vehicles and Traffic, Article 3, authority to impound vehicles and dispose of impounded vehicles of the Code of the City of Trinidad, Colorado, to better define wrecked or junk vehicle, setting a hearing date for consideration of said ordinance to 6 p.m. on February the 6th, 2021. Have someone introduce?
I will gladly introduce.
Okay, could I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Valentine, is that, you want to discuss that, or is there someone else, the chief, or who would just have information on?
Well, Mayor, I can. I mean, we've got the chief on, we've got Audra who prepared this. Basically, this is when we went through the recreational vehicle ordinance that council just recently approved first reading of, second reading, whatever. We got to the regular registration of normal vehicles, and we thought we needed to clean it up so that it helps code enforcement to enforce the actual intent of junk vehicles. So it's another cleanup of an ordinance that we caught on the way to doing the recreational vehicle ordinance. And I'll defer to either the chief or Audra, who found this and are working toward cleaning it up.
Okay, Chief, do you have anything? You might not be. How about Audra? Audra, do you have anything to add?
I don't, Mayor. I think Mike summed it up very well.
Okay. Any questions from council? Ms. Grego?
I just need a clarification. So is it, on these junk vehicles, is it junk vehicles just parked on public streets or junk vehicles in plain sight on private property?
It's for junk vehicles that are even on private property.
Okay.
They have to be registered and legal to be used on city streets.
Okay. That's the only clarification I needed.
Okay, Mr. Goodall?
I have nothing.
Ms. Ogletree?
I just was curious, do we have an impound lot in Trinidad?
We do not have an actual impound lot. Right now, our towing companies haul these off to their facilities. We are working on, with the county to try and figure out, they have a big lot over by the Justice Center that we've been working with them and talking back and forth to have an impound lot. Of course, we're going to have you know, some movement there. We don't want to take all these junk vehicles to the impound lot and then have them there. So we're working through the the impound lot so that we can you know, and act on these. But most junk vehicles, and maybe the chief can attest, once all the paperwork is in order, the tow companies will actually take them to their facilities.
Okay. Mr. Shu, any questions?
No, I don't have anything.
How about Mr. DeBono?
No, not at this time, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Williamson?
No questions, Mayor.
Okay, I have no questions. Call the vote, please.
Bono,
Yes.
Goodall,
Yes.
Griego,
Yes.
Ogletree,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Rico.
Yes. On to item 9, council reports. Ms. Grego?
I had a meeting with the Historic Main Street Board this afternoon, and just like everybody else, they're, you know, being almost a year in COVID lockdown, it's pretty hard to get anything done. But they're talking about they're in the process of doing a wayfinding project with CDOT. They've got $50,000, so they're going to start working on wayfaring signs downtown. They're also, for their summer project this year, going to do benches. They're going to do benches that they're going to have somebody that makes these little wooden benches, and they're going to have artists paint them, and then they're going to put them in downtown. But other than that, I'm surprised their board's back almost up to full speed as far as members are concerned. So it's doing good.
Mr. Goodall?
So today I attended a Cml webinar with the Census Bureau. So I was curious what all it was going to be about and talk about, and I was glad that I signed up for this and went. I'll be receiving an email with a link to all the information I'll share with Mike to send out with everybody. I was impressed to find out that the Census Bureau does roughly 130 surveys a year, economic surveys and everything. They have reports that come out monthly and quarterly and annually on economics and everything else. They have some sites set up for COVID that'll show businesses that have received funding and the effects it's had on their bottom line. Good information, I thought. a lot of websites. One of them I visited today is called On the Map, CEScensus.gov. You can go right on to Trinidad and bring it up. It'll show you every business in town. It'll show you who owns it by gender, race, veterans, etc., everything else. Employee businesses that have employees, or just businesses that are self-employment, just the owner of them. But just a lot of really good information. I'm glad I went on that. As soon as I get that email and the link and stuff, like I said, I'll share it with Mike to pass along for anyone to look at. I thought some of it might be some good information for Wally on the economic development side. I got a report today from a very concerned citizen, and I have to live with this concerned citizen, so I'm hoping we can do something about this. Everyone knows she's in this fitness mode, spends a lot of time on her bicycle down along the Riverwalk, and I guess we've got a gentleman that has set up camp right down pretty close to the bridge before you go into the Boulevard Addition. He's cutting down trees and other stuff, and so I think we need to get someone to look at this and follow up on it if that's true, see what we can do about that. Yesterday I had the meeting with the Santa Fe Trail 200th Anniversary Planning Commission, or whatever this is, with Miss Marty and everybody. That's moving right along, going forward with that. The auction that was scheduled for last year is going to kick back off March 1st, I believe, so we're still collecting items. Miss Griego, I appreciate the jewelry and stuff that you donated. My wife donated some photography, but to help raise funds for that. A lot of really neat events. We have a Indian chief that's going to be here and confirmed. The Buffalo Soldiers are going to be appearing and doing a show, permitting, COVID permitting this happens, but planning is definitely going forward. The plan B is 200+1 anniversary celebration if they have to postpone it and we're not able to do it this year. So a lot of really good information coming down on that, and utilizing possibly some of the entertainment district if possible, and in different stuff. So I believe that's all I have.
Mr. Goodall, something you might want to take to, maybe, I'm not sure if you already brought this up with that group on the Santa Fe Trail 200th anniversary. There's a gentleman up in Bon Carbo who has a horse and buggy that probably can give rides, and he could probably make a few bucks off of it himself if you want to bring that forward and ask him if he wants to participate.
And I'll bring that up to Marty. We have an ox team with the trailer that's going to be here doing the same thing going around. They're looking at someone that has a tame, if there's such a thing, buffalo that possibly could be here for kids to pet. Period time, clothing parades for kids with Fort Bent providing a lot of activities for children and different stuff. So, I mean, we have a really great committee, and they are on this, and the plans are going to be amazing. But I will bring that up about the horse and buggy up in Bon Carbo.
If you need his name, let me know. I'll get his name for you. Okay.
I'll get together with you, Phil.
Okay. Ms. Ogletree?
I also attended the U.S. Census webinar, and Councilman Goodall did a great job explaining the information. It was really good. I had no idea that they collect that much information, and for people who are considering starting businesses, they have lots of backup data that you can use with other data to show a need, or how your business will fill a need. So I thought it was a very good presentation, and I look forward to getting your links, Councilman Goodall. That's all I have.
Okay, Mr. Shu?
No, I have nothing to report this time.
Okay, how about Mr. DeBone?
Nothing to report, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Williamson?
Thank you, Mayor. Since our last meeting, I've attended 3 meetings. The first one was for the library. That was a really productive and informative meeting, well run. I was really impressed with Jessica and the team there. I think the library's heading in a really positive direction. It's looking to really just build on community involvement, and I would like to encourage as much as is possible for people to utilize the library for what services they have available. I'm really happy with the direction that's going in. Also, wanted to say thank you to Mike for Jessica mentioned multiple times through the meeting of working hand in hand for support. That gate or the door that you guys are working on, I think that's going to be beneficial in helping them just keep that place a little more secure and clean. The next part, I attended a TPR meeting with Mike, and he said that he was interested in how I was going to sum this up, and I'm going to make it super simple. I hate to admit this, I forgot my notebook at work, Mike, from that meeting. That being said, I can forward any of the points that I miss, or Mike may be able to fill us in, but I think it was a productive meeting as well. There was a lot of input and expression made for Exit 11. That seems to be going forward really well, and they're finalizing the plans with that and have extensive communication with Mike. And again, I wanted to thank Mike for how well prepared he is for those meetings, and that it has to be an extreme amount of effort that he does. So thank you for that. Mike, they're anticipating early or mid-spring for a project start on that. That is correct, right?
That is correct. They're pushing for an April bid date for contractors, and yep, and then they'll be ready to go. By the time they finalize everything, it'll probably be summertime, but yeah, mid-spring bid date, correct.
So that's exciting. And then the rest of it, that was the first meeting I attended. It was lengthy, and there is a lot to learn there, but I will be getting up to speed on that. Also attended a Council of Governments meeting. That was business as usual, and had a good review of financials there. So nothing major to bring back from that meeting, but those were the 3 meetings that I attended.
Okay. And we've got a few things to bring up. A while back, I asked Audrey to send me a list of all of the council members and what commissions or boards that they're on. And of course, she sent it back to me of the regular boards and commissions. So I'm asking each one of the board of the council members to call her back, and all of the extra boards and commissions that you're on, or if you give them to her, so that we could have a complete list of what we do. For instance, Mr. Williamson, just he's on the TPR, so those type of things. So any other boards and commissions other than the ones that are that we regularly vote on to put a council person on, let her know. That way we can have a complete list of everything that we do. I attended a the tourism board meeting last week, and they were talking about the Studio 6 contract. That's up for review right now. Their service marketing guide, and they're questioning whether they are going to move forward with that or not at this point in time, and maybe probably do some of that in-house. So that's something that they're working on. They're also looking at the billboards that are up for the city of Trinidad and try to update those as needed, because some of them are getting, I guess, a little bit worn, dilapidated, so they talked about that. Also attended we had a Fisher's Peak Partners meeting last week. One major thing to let council know is that Colorado Parks and Wildlife is now going to be taking over the master planning process. They will be working for THK on that, and anything that comes up as far as funding, CPW will be paying for the funding going forward with the master plan project. So it's not going to be anything that, from what I understand, that will be coming back to any of the partners for funding. I confirmed that today with Wade Shelton, and just for good clarification. They are planning to have the master plan completed by the end of 2021, to have a final approval by the partners in January of 2022. And if everybody saw the newspaper today, something that they're going out, there's some focus interest groups that they're asking for from the public. They're interested in comments, that they could do that, and they gave all the information, and it was in the newspaper today. I also was asked to do a school board proclamation or last week. It was school board month, so they had me read a proclamation. I attended the council of governments. They asked me to give an update to the Southwest Chief, which I did. And one thing that I will do for council, there was a couple of bits of information that I gave to them that I'm going to get passed on to council. Of course, Mr. Williamson, I think, has that, but I will get that passed over to all of council, so you will have kind of an idea of where we've been and kind of where we're going. Also attended the Action 22 meeting last week. Discussed a lot of the upcoming bills, whether to support or not support. There were several of the bills that we discussed that they were not sure whether we were going to, I guess they're kind of neutral on it. Some of the items that was discussed were the tax code modernization. There was an education bill, healthcare bill, the pandemic relief, which is one thing that they voted to move forward. There was also a bill that's in the state legislature that's coming forward about methane capture in landfills. And so that's going to be interesting to see what that's all about. I also listened to a lady by Mrs. Kathy Reynolds from CU, and I'm going to call her again because it sounds like she may, being that she's from CU, and CU has been down here in the past, and I think that she may be able to provide us with some additional information. We'll go on forward with everything that we're doing. So I'll talk to her, and then Mr. Valentine, I'll give you her name and phone number, and you can call her and have a discussion with her. But I'll get that to you. Also had a meeting with the Southwest Chief, and of course we just continue going forward. Just to let you know that our director is not with us anymore, the regular director. We still have our assistant that's with us, but CDOT is providing the Southwest Chief with a director. His name is David Singer, and he will be taking the place of our previous director. We were also not successful with the 2020 bill grant that we had supported, and some of the information that I'm going to get to you that I mentioned earlier, all of the Christie grants and Tiger grants that have been applied for, whether they've been successful or not, is in that information, and the dollar amounts and the millions of dollars of what we've been able to do and been able to garner. Just a last bit of information and a reminder. On February the 11th at 6 p.m. I'm going to give the State of the City address, and I think we've asked Council, Mike sent a question out to Council. If there's anything in particular that you want me to address, please let him know so he can pass it on to me, and I'd like to have that probably no later than Thursday so that I can add it in, because I want to try to get some information in there so that we could read what it's going to look like. The theme that I'm going to have for that this year is going to be a time for reflection and progress in unprecedented times, and I think that's very obvious what we're going through. So that's what my theme will be for this year's State of the City address. Mr. Valentine, what do you have to report?
Thank you, Mayor. Members of Council. In the drive, Audra placed a piece of artwork, a dog and a frisbee dog. That was approved by Arts and Cultural Commission back with the circlet that we just talked about and the horse that goes in the roundabout. This was approved by Arts and Culture for purchase when they had received the boards and commission monies. Well, I think it was 2017, and at the time this piece of art was $15,000. They approved to move forward with it. Audra, on Friday the 29th, received this email from the artist who said he would do it for their price. Let's see, let me read it exactly as he put it, because it's quite the deal. It's a sale. The original price was $50,000. Their price today only $0, but they might ask for a small amount for help with the installation. So we are calling for locates to see where he would build this, but just wanted to let council know that this was approved by the Arts and Cultural Commission. I'd like to move forward with the expenditure of $0 to get it secured. So,
moved and all votes yes, okay.
Right. So I wanted to get that in front of you, just to let you know that, I mean, this is quite the donation, and I think it'll be an addition to the dog park that'll be unique to, that'll be great. So that's an information item, and if you look, he's got a sketch that he included. The thing is about 7 to 8 feet, it says. I don't know if that's 7 to 8 feet tall or 7 to 8 feet round, but I think it'll be quite a catching piece. On yesterday, I met with the first for the first meeting with the New Elk Mine, what they're calling working group. I mentioned this to council at the work session. I didn't know what it was going to be. It's more information sharing, so they want to have this meeting monthly. So I would probably, talk to a couple council members. I don't think we call a special meeting. It's bringing back information for right now, but we talked about the timeline, and they want to move it forward because the met coal market that they are planning on selling this coal in, that's for the coking coal for making steel, the market it's rising drastically, and they want to get on board and sell some coal in that market, and it may be able to generate more revenues for them so they could accelerate the replacement of the rail and everything. But a lot of things were talked about there. There's, a matter of fact, have boots on the ground now. Experienced miner from Western Kentucky and Virginia are going through the mine equipment, bringing it up to speed, and the wash plant. They're going to open the seals on the 2 portals probably within the next 2 or 3 weeks to get everything inspected and have MSHA inspectors, the mine safety inspectors, come in and make sure everything is good to go. They are expecting production in mid-April of coal, so that means trucking. That was a big topic as far as the TPR meeting that Aaron spoke of, and the county during this discussion was the wear and tear on Highway 12 and the traffic and what their schedules are and whether they'll be trucking at night or during the day. So they're working on that. They're listening to the locals. So I think as we move forward, we'll find out more information on that. They're planning on bringing on initially a production staff of 30 miners and 10 salaried administrative type employees, engineers and surveyors and such. So it's moving forward. One of the big talks was the housing that we're having. So to piggyback off that, I will say that we had a meeting today with some agencies, the Department of Housing with Colorado, the CHAFA folks. What else was on there? Edit. And we're starting to formulate a plan to have a housing forum at our February 22nd meeting for City Council work session. Because there is a lot of information to be disseminated, and we want to have some case studies put out there of what was successful in other communities, what funding's available for developers, all toward housing, how we could better use our incentive monies to leverage even more help for developers and get us some affordable housing, workforce housing, not just the CHAFA requirements for the average medium income, but may be able to raise that a bit because, these minors will be making a little more than the average medium income. So that is ongoing. So February 22nd is the work session. Generally, we have them at 5 o'clock. I may ask council within the next week whether, if we have all these agencies, if we can move that up to 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock to get more participation from developers and in the city alike. So I just wanted to let council know about that. And then to piggyback a little bit on the TPR, there was a lot of discussion on our exits, which ones need priority, and we've prioritized exit 11, and we're moving forward with that because they fast tracked it. They added more funding, and I gave them our appreciation to listening and putting that forward to fruition. Exit 13, 14, 15, all through town, there was discussion on all those. An agenda item that surprised me a little bit until I figured it out. They had an agenda items that I'll just read from the agenda. It says, discussion item for moving RPP money to the Trinidad Downtown Planning Study. And that took me aback a little bit because it's like I didn't understand what that was. I thought I missed something along the way. But when we got to that item, what it was is the Shoshana Lou and Richard Zamora were here back in October. And we mentioned to them that at the time we were applying for a joint with the county and the partners Fisher's Peak for kind of a study, a connectivity study, a trail study. We hadn't worked the scope out yet. And we mentioned that to them, and Mr. Zamora is the one who put this on the agenda, and he said he thinks it would be just right for CDOT, since all our exits kind of are going to be inundated with some more traffic because of Fisher's Peak and everything that's going on down here. So they wanted to join in, I said we'd gladly take $1 million, but yeah, he didn't go for that. But anyway, he put me in touch with the engineer from our region 2. She called me the next day, and we discussed back and forth what they were willing to give toward this and what they thought the scope of work would be if they gave this money to us. And she said it's, she's juggling funds, but she thinks that we could ask for as much as $200,000 to put toward this study, as long as the scope includes the I-25, access from basically exit 8 through town. So that includes all the exits, that they would participate in the planning and see what where they should spend their money. So that was good news. I have been playing phone tag back and forth with Wade from TPL, who is working on kind of our scope for the city and county and the TPL and the partners to work on that scope where we were successful in that grant, but we may have more monies to add to that. So we should get a very well thought out, comprehensive access and traffic pattern study for the city and I-25. So wanted to add that.
Good.
And that's all I have, Mayor. Unless there's questions.
Okay, I was going to ask you is that when the Allegiance has those meetings, if you want to include me, I like to participate in them meetings whenever they come up. And
Will do.
It's good to hear about that. Maybe we may be able to garnish some additional money for a traffic study that has been brought up. So that anyway, Mr. Goodall has his hand raised.
I do have a question, not about the comments you made, but I know the CML meeting is coming up. I think the deadline is next Thursday isn't this the legislative session? I got an email for that.
You're correct. Yes.
Do we have anyone else from City Council going to be attending that? Because I'd like to jump on board for that. I see Miss Ogletree is raising her hand.
I'm going to try to do that as well, because I guess it's all going to be virtual this year, correct?
It is going to be virtual, so yeah, if we could get registration in, Mike, I know that I'd like to be in, Miss Ogletree and the mayor, it sounds like.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. That's all I had for
If
you.
you give me that, I'm sure it's probably in my drive somewhere, but I got a million emails that come along. If you can send me that registration information, I'd appreciate it again. Mr. Downs?
Mayor, council members, I don't have anything to report on. I'm sorry. I don't deserve to be mentioned in the same breath as Mr. Valentine. Don't agree with me, Councilwoman Griego. Don't agree with me. I know what you're thinking. That's true. Unless you have any questions, I'm sorry.
Okay. Motion to adjourn, please.
Moved.
Call the vote, please.
DeBono?
Yes.
Goodall?
Before I say yes, let it be known I did not make a motion again tonight. I did, however, sponsor, but I did not make a motion, Ms. Griego. Yes on the adjournment.
Griego?
Yes, Rusty's got some really sensitive feelings, man. Can't take a joke to save his soul.
Sensitive
wow. And for a biker, you're not as tough as you look, Rusty.
Ogletree?
Yes.
Jew?
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes.
Rico?
Yes.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you all. Good night.
See you next. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.